Good morning, everyone. Welcome to day 5 of our Emotional Detox and Wellness Challenge. Today we will be sharing with you a beautiful practice which simply involves focusing on our heart, which is a nice place to focus. And for those of you who read Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now, I remember reading where he said something like 95% of our thinking is completely useless and serves no purpose but to bring us into stress and anxiety about future or regret about past. So this is a really beautiful tool where we're actually bringing the heart into presence, to bring us into presence.
Yeah, so this heart space, there's so much focus in modern Western culture on the mind and thoughts. And really, if we can feel more and think less, there would be so much more harmony and ease within ourselves and between each other. So right now, just see what happens when you breathe into the heart. It's like there's so many ways, there's so many asanas and practices to open the heart. But really, if we just focus on our heart, we can feel that we are openness. If we're actually concentrating on this space, there's a term called samyana, which means to focus. And when I began samyana, when I was doing the Ridosthana training, it was more about focusing on an object, and then it expanded from there until eventually the focus was on the heart. And I remember that I was going through quite a challenging time when I started this focus on my heart, and it was amazing. It was like no matter what I was doing, when I found myself getting lost in thoughts or finding life difficult, I'd bring my focus to my heart, and wow. And it doesn't mean that it's all, joy in the heart all the time, although I find now that there's a joy even with the sadness. But what it means is we're getting authentic and sincere with whatever our experience is. So, when you're doing the dishes, when you're speaking to a beloved, when you're in an argument, when you're finding something difficult, when you're at the beach, when you first wake up in the morning, when you're in the shower, you can, this is a meditation that can really translate into life. Life becomes a meditation when we learn to focus on our heart instead of the thoughts. And it really, I remember when I first started this as well, I thought focusing on the heart meant that I was always, feeling good, but also virtuous in a way. And there was darkness in my heart sometimes. There was like extreme sadness. There was anger. So the heart isn't always soft and gentle. Sometimes the heart is fierce. That was a big lesson for me. So when you bring the heart in, just allow whatever's showing up. You don't even have to understand what's there. And sometimes maybe it's really intense, so giving it some sound will help. And what I find, if I'm ever closed sexually or intimately, then when I focus on my heart, I find that, it's because I don't want to feel this grief, or I don't want to feel this rage. So then I allow myself to feel that, and as I'm making love, I feel that, or whatever I'm doing, I feel that. And that's when my tears really start streaming, or my ferociousness is given a voice. So what's in your heart today? What's in your heart right now? So place your hands on your heart and bring all your focus there. Start focusing on the heart. I had a big heart clearing this morning, which is what inspired this video. So I don't have a lot of sound there, but Tara, maybe whatever's alive in your heart. And for listeners, whatever is alive inside of you, don't judge it. Just give it some sound. Breathe into the heart. And as you're breathing into the heart, I'll remind you to breathe into the belly. You know, if you're chest breathing, it's hard to access sensation and experience directly, because we go into a stress response of raised shoulders, tight jaw, clenching, holding on. So breathe into the belly, let the belly expand on the inhalation, fall to the spine on the exhalation. Bringing all the focus to your heart. Simply allowing whatever's there. This isn't a practice you have to try to do or try to perfect. It's just connecting with your essential nature, which is love. And love has many faces. Sometimes it's fierce, sometimes it's gentle, sometimes it's dark, sometimes it's light. So feel free to pause this or stop watching and continue with that experience if you feel like you're going deep. And the invitation is to move into the heart space as much throughout the day as possible, and really feel what's alive. And what you may notice, you know, there's a beautiful deepening. The more you deepen into Tantra, there's a deepening into a space of communion rather than communication. And communication is head to head. Communion is heart to heart. And it's like, you know, before we started this video, I was still feeling a few remnants of the sadness I was moving through this morning, you know, missing my kids and Georgia and not being there with them at Easter, which is always a really beautiful family time. And I didn't, you know, the words were silent, and I just kind of cuddled into Tara and nestled into her, and we just had this beautiful space of communion where she stroked my hair, and, you know, I got to feel my sadness, and I think she felt what it was about. But there were no words. And, you know, Tara and I were musing over this yesterday. Sometimes it's in the silence, it's in the listening where we feel the most. And sometimes talking or, you know, showing up or entertaining can be a way of avoiding the vulnerability of the heart. I know it definitely has been for me and still is sometimes. So this is really like, can you be vulnerable? Can you allow the heart to open into whatever your direct experience is in this deep space of communion, and let yourself be seen in that?
And that was really beautiful. I was sharing with Chantel this morning how I woke up feeling off, and I did my daily practice, and there was still something heavy, and I put it down to the anti-parasite tablets that I was taking. And just then it was just like there was no story and no mind. I have no idea what it was about, but there was just sadness there, and it just needed to be loved and seen and felt, and for some tears to shed. And now I feel like all squishy. And it's so beautiful. Like my first 10 years of my spiritual path was a very masculine approach to meditation and coming into presence through the breath. And what I love so deeply about Tantra is the feminine experience and joy that can be a part of those practices. So this is a beautiful feminine approach to coming into presence and coming deeper into our heart space, which is really beautiful. And it feeds into everything that we've actually talked about so far. Like when you're chanting or singing your mantra, if you're focusing on your heart space, you're just like double cranking your vibrational field. In your daily practice, when you wake up in the morning, like as soon as my eyes open, one hand goes on my heart, one hand goes on my womb. And so with the loving touch as well, and the affirmations, really just focusing on the heart space. And with anger as well.
Yeah.
When you're expressing anger, like just breathing into the belly and focusing on the heart. So you can do it everywhere.
Yeah, and on day 2, when we talked about gratitude and setting an intention to perhaps welcome everything with love. So, you know, each day relates to each other. So if you haven't seen previous videos, watch them. It'd be great if you could journey with us through the whole 30 days, because really what you're receiving is a wealth of knowledge and experience and transmission of two people who have journeyed deeply, had a lot of trial and error into connecting to love, not just as a personal thing, but as a transpersonal force, which is actually who we are. So I hope that this month really, really helps you all with that. And we love you.
Thank you.
Have a beautiful day.